Ready for the video, John?
I'm ready for it.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
If you become conscious, you're liberated, not controlled.
That was a great video. I mean, what a bulletproof answer.
Yeah.
A few things.
Present practice. What is vibing? This is Vish and
Jon Scotty.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
the only real solution to phone addiction.
Today I'm here with
Jon Scotty.
Want to introduce yourself?
I'm John. I'm a content creator, good friend of Vish. Happy to be here and stoked for this YouTube video.
Where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram is where I'm most active at Jon Jon Scotty _. Also on TikTok, I've been uploading more recently, and be on the lookout for more YouTube content. You're inspiring me to get more into YouTube, so after this I'll have to have you on mine.
Absolutely, would love that. And yeah, John is a super kind friend. He has been making some really cool content, so definitely check him out. All of his stuff will be down below. So John, before we get into the video, I'm curious, do you have a phone addiction yourself?
I wouldn't say I have a phone addiction.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people around our age, and even not our age, we have phones in our possession non-stop that are designed to be addictive. So it's easy to fall into addictive behavior when it comes to your phones. I would say I can get phone obsessed.
Okay.
Phone obsessed. I'm in control, and if I don't have my phone, I don't freak out, I don't have withdrawals or panic and have FOMO. Part of that though is because I'm aware that phones are designed to be addictive, and I consciously take steps to counteract those addictive qualities.
Okay.
Easier said than done, but I'm not addicted to my phone, and I'm actively trying to keep it that way.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and we'll definitely explore more of this as well after the video. Would love to hear if y'all are addicted to the phones. Comments down below. Let's definitely explore more of this, John, after we watch this video. And with that,
let's get into it.
Are we a human being becoming stupid? Are we slave? Is this the modern life?
Life has become so much better because of a phone. The solution is only consciousness, there is no other way.
In the era of democratization of technology, innovation, smartphone, internet, social media, we are becoming more and more dependent on all of those tools. I am one of them. They are as important today as food, as water, as breath, as air. I'm sorry for the question. Are we a human being becoming stupid? Are we slave? Is this the modern life, life slavery for you?
No, I don't see it that way. Even if you were a caveman, you would carry a stick in your hand.
True.
You would never keep the stick down because it was necessary. Maybe there was a snake, maybe there was an animal, maybe there was something else. Always a stick. Today you're carrying a cell phone. I don't see any difference. That stick was useful at that time. This phone is useful now. Now, this is technology which has enabled us to do so many things. I remember 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was building the foundation, I had to go into those booths with a black phone and make 100, 200 calls at a time. Today, if I just think about it, my phone calls, all right? If I say a word, it'll call who I want and it's done. So life has become so much better because of a phone. But now people are in a state of compulsiveness. Anything you give, they are so compulsive, they make it into suffering. Compulsive eating, compulsive drinking, compulsive everything. So the problem is not phone, problem is not something else, compulsiveness is the problem. The solution is only consciousness, there is no other way.
And controlling ourselves.
No, not controlling, becoming conscious. If you become conscious, you're liberated, not controlled.
so John, what'd you think of this one?
That was a great video. I mean, what a bulletproof answer.
Yeah.
A few things really stood out to me. He basically was saying that phones are tools, similar to how cavemen in the Paleolithic age carried sticks as tools. You wouldn't say they were obsessed with their stick or addicted to their stick. It was a tool that made life easier. That's such a good answer. Phones do make life easier.
Yeah.
it's convenient. We're constantly connected to the world. You can talk to people with the click of a button. That's true. That's an awesome power, and it's made life easier and more innovative and more progressive. And look at how technology has transformed the world.
Right.
It has its ups and downs.
Yes.
There are people out to make money off of you through your phone addiction. And that is true. But I think that the knowledge of that,
Awareness.
The awareness of that allows you, like you said, to be conscious.
Yes.
Consciousness is the answer to a lot of things, especially things like addiction and obsession.
Yes.
When you're conscious of it, you can consciously counteract the negative stimulus.
I love that reflection on that video. I very much resonate with you, actually, a lot of these points. Yeah, the key, again, from what I've seen, and I used to do the same thing. I mean, I used to blame technology. I used to blame all these external things, right? With what is the, really just blaming. I mean, it was blaming that I was doing. And so then just recently, I mean, after coming on this path of spirituality, or just, you know, seeking more awareness, as I like to call it, you come to realize that it's not technology that's bad. It's not food that's bad. It's not people that are bad. It's nothing's bad or good, actually. Good and bad are really subjective terms. It comes down to a simple fact, which is, how aware are you? Now, with that being said, John, I'm curious, because you'd mentioned the word consciousness, right? It's a big word, and it's something I'm still exploring myself.
Yeah.
How would you describe it, and what does it mean to you?
Consciousness is a really strong word. To me, the first thing that comes to mind when I think consciousness is awareness.
Yes.
Awareness to ourselves as individuals on this planet, tapping into the energy that's all around us, tapping into the awareness of the energy we're transmitting, receiving, being aware of our actions, our thoughts, beliefs, behavior, just being overall aware of life.
Yes.
How do you define consciousness? I think you're gonna have a way better answer than me. I hope that made sense.
No, that was great, and it's something I've realized, right? First off, describing things with the English language itself is quite limiting. Again, not to say that it's good or bad. It's just, I think there's optimal languages for optimal things. I mean, throwing it back to, also don't mind the itching, there's a lot of mosquitoes here. So it's quite a little spiritual practice, as I like to call it. But anyways, with my computer science background, there's different programming languages, and I'll be honest, I'm no coding expert. I have a CS background, but not an expert. There are different languages that are optimal for different purposes. And so the same principle applies here. And so the reason I say that is because Sadhguru himself talks about meditation. Meditation, and I know I'm asking a lot of dictionary type of questions, but it'll tie in, and I'll get to the point of why I'm asking this in a second. But what does meditation mean to you?
I found meditation, we're in 2021, it's October. I found real value in meditation probably as early as this year.
Okay.
Where I thought it just wasn't for me. I thought I didn't need it. I thought it wasn't necessary. I thought it was for a certain type of person. If they like to do that, great, do it. Until I started doing it.
Yes.
And seeing the benefits in life overall, even on a day-to-day level, your mental clarity, your awareness, your consciousness, your energy, the realization of how much control we have over our lives. It's almost like, how could you not meditate? This is perfect for this topic too, because phones are, when you use your phone or social media as a distraction, you are very not mindful. We are constantly saturated with entertainment and stimulation and media and bright, colorful, pictures and sounds. When you're meditating, you're really having a one-on-one moment with yourself, your consciousness, the energy around you. It brings you back to earth.
Yes.
And out of that digital world and back into your own body, your own self, your own mind. I would hear something like that a year ago and be like, bro, chill. You go do your thing. You go be a guru. You go be on your Gandhi flow. You know what I mean? And I'll be a normal person. But it's worth giving it a shot. It's worth sticking to. Once you see the results, once you notice the difference in your life,
Yes.
you're gonna wonder how you ever lived without even just a 10-minute meditation every single day, a 10-minute moment of mindfulness. You can meditate all throughout the day, meditate in the car, in the shower. Take time out of your day to be meditative, mindful, and tap into your consciousness. It makes literally a world of difference.
Jon, thank you so much for sharing that. Again, really great description of how beneficial meditation is. I want to make a couple points here, if you don't mind. So let's start with, for example, the word mindfulness, right? If you think about it, and it's something I learned recently, it's actually a very mistranslated word, because a goal, at least a part of meditation, I'm not going to say this is the ultimate goal, is to empty your mind, not to make it full. So mindful will come off as you're trying to store stuff into your mind.
Right.
Not to say that it's, you know, something you shouldn't use, but again, just a mistranslation from, I forget the exact language, it might have been Sanskrit. I think that was the language. It comes from the Buddhist practice, which I'm pretty sure was Sanskrit based, and that had a different word. So that's one example. The next one is meditation itself. So again, Sadhguru talks about this. If I was to, for example, just be closing my eyes right now, I could be dreaming, I could be sleeping, I could have mastered the art of sleeping like this. I could be thinking, I could be brainstorming, I could be fantasizing, I could be reminiscing. There's so many things I could be doing. So meditation, again, at least with the English language, it's not a word that's of optimal use because it doesn't do it justice to describe what it really is. And I'm not going to say that I have a real answer. I'm not going to say this is only the way to meditate. But the point I'm making with all of these little statements, and again, it applies to consciousness as well. That was the initial question, right, that we had I'd asked you.
Yeah.
It comes down to realizing how, one, that there's optimal languages, but again, that's not too significant. It really comes down to the realization that on this path of, it's called spirituality, inner exploration, inner awareness, inner engineering, it's just realizing that languages are the byproduct of the mind. So the mind is using a tool, again, in this case, language is a tool, to communicate. And it's great. I mean, it's literally why you and I are having a conversation right now, why you're watching this video probably right now, but it still is a limiting tool. So the same thing applies to the mind. So it comes from the mind. Mind is great, helps you think, imagine, reminisce, whatever. But it's also quite a limiting tool. A lot of these topics, like consciousness, or just words, let's call them that, awareness even, meditation, they're such deeper things which you really can't describe with words. And maybe there's other words that go along with this, whether it's God, regardless of what your view on God is, whether you're religious or not religious, whether it's anything along these lines, right? Even gratitude, right? You can explain it, but to feel it, to experience gratitude is a whole different thing. So, long answer short, where I'm getting at with consciousness is, I'll give you a description and let's call it like pointers, right?
Okay.
I think the English language and even the mind can act as pointers, but they don't act as substitutes for these things. And so I would just describe it as that right there. That's it.
Yeah. It really is hard to articulate.
Well, so what I meant, I don't know if you caught that, but I just looked up at the sky. I was completely conscious at that moment.
Hard to articulate verbally.
Right, exactly. So you get what I was saying, and I'm sure y'all maybe picked up on the action that I just made. But anyways, let's tie this back into the phone real quick. I'm curious, he had mentioned, he was asked by the interviewer about, you know, do we need to gain more control over our lives or over the phone, for example? And then he was like, no, we don't need control, we need awareness. What does that mean to you? I'm curious.
I think awareness leads to control.
Okay.
I think when you're aware, everyone watched The Social Dilemma, which exposed a lot of the manipulative ways that apps on our phone are controlling us, getting data, subtly trying to get us more addicted and obsessed with our phones.
Also, real quick, if y'all have seen The Social Dilemma, it's a quite controversial documentary on Netflix. We'd love to hear your views on that video itself in the comments down below. Well, let's continue.
Definitely worth watching. The whole idea is about how social media is very persuasive, very manipulative, and it's engineered to get you addicted. The awareness of that leads to control over it. If you're not aware, you're just going to be controlled by it.
Right.
When he says we don't need controlling awareness, I look at that as relative to all aspects of life. Being aware of how you can either be controlled or control unlocks so many doors. It opens up your entire life and allows you to get what you want out of life.
Yes. Freedom is what he said.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did say that. And so yeah, when I think of awareness, I think of a lot of people. When you have the right information, the right decision becomes obvious.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of suppression of information. Even still, I mean, even social media suppresses a lot of information, right? Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to an extent. I mean, I feel like there's two dimensions to that, right? There's a suppression by the tech giant themselves with, for example, COVID is a recent example with whether it's a vaccine or whatever it might be. Regardless of what your views are on that, I've noticed there is suppression in a way about certain forms of expression. Now, whether that's good or bad, I don't think there's a right answer. But I think there's that side of it, and there's also the other side of the coin, which is suppression over, let's call it cancel culture, actually, right? So there's literally inner suppression within the community itself, where if certain people are not standing up for certain things or are not saying certain things, you automatically become alienated. You automatically get painted as a villain. You automatically get canceled. So there's a form of suppression there as well, I think. Yeah.
And another, what has also been brought to light is that point, how certain information, I mean, we're living in a time where information is abundant.
Yeah.
We can Google something and have the answer in 5 seconds, where that same answer used to take research and opening a book, going to the library to find. And that's amazing. Information is abundant. That's amazing. To your point about expression being suppressed, I think that is part of what social media does to kind of manipulate your views, where they're only showing you information to reaffirm your bias, or maybe even the opposite. Maybe even you're being shown information that's going to spark your aggression and get you to act on it. And what do? You engage.
Yes.
What happens when you engage? People engage back. Now
engagement.
Right, engagement. Although you're expressing yourself negatively, not in your best self, the social media apps just care that you're on, giving them your attention, your engagement, and you know, where attention goes, money flows.
Love that.
It's really all based in money.
Yes.
I think the suppression of expression is ultimately, you can make a case either way.
Exactly. I want to touch upon that. You'd mentioned suppression of information. It kind of goes into back to what we're talking about, which is control, right? So control to me, or suppression, would indicate control. And I think it's interesting because you'd mentioned through awareness you have control, and I have a little different view on that. I think it's great to have different views, right?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
I've actually debated about this myself in the past. Like, is it control? Is it awareness? Are they the same thing? Whatever. But I think where I stand right now with this current level of awareness, it's actually realizing, I think a big word that sticks out to me is attachment, right? Identification is really just a stronger form of attachment, I think. So attachment is the opposite of freedom, because freedom means you're free. There's nothing holding you back. But attachment is really just something that holds you back, right? And you're not free, really. So the point there is, even with the phone, going back to the phone as well, I'll touch upon social media suppression, information suppression as well. It comes down to realizing that even avoiding, let's say, your phone actively, like for example, like locking it in a box or like throwing it, I don't know, like far away to make sure you don't get on it. That's also a form of attachment if you think about it. It's basically just the idea, and I've learned this from Sadhguru himself actually in other videos, and it's all about realizing how whether you're spending hours on the phone or hours avoiding the phone, that's still attachment. That's why a lot of the times even things that society will tell you or religion will tell you or whatever culture will tell you, people tend to oppose and go against. Because even, and this is gonna be a little controversial here, but certain topics that, let's just say, religions say you shouldn't talk about, right? People of that background will think the most about, for example. I'm not saying everyone does or everyone doesn't, but the point I'm making is...
It's like psychology, yeah. It makes you interested in what you're not allowed to...
If I tell you to don't think about a pink elephant right now, you're gonna think about a pink elephant, right? So it's literally the nature of the mind as to how it works. Whatever you try to oppose, whatever you try to resist will persist. And so, really just to wrap this all up, it comes down to, I think the key word earlier that we mentioned, awareness, control, really just to touch upon the previous point, is a form of attachment, I think, because you're actively trying to do something. And so you're, for example, trying to control your phone usage versus you use the phone when you need to use it. See the subtle difference there? Like on paper, you're doing the same thing.
Right.
But the key here, and this is where it goes back into, I guess, sort of answering your question about what I think consciousness is or awareness is, it's the how, not the what. Society and I feel like modern day people or culture always focuses on the what. Do this, you shouldn't do that. But I think, and what I've realized, there is no right or wrong, but the how.
The how.
Yes.
Makes all the difference. I think you're right. If you are actively trying to avoid phone usage,
Yeah.
that's all you're actually thinking about.
Exactly.
Really. I think, what do you think the solution is?
One word, consciousness.
I think that when you think of holistic health, no holistic health expert or anyone's going to tell you that health is spending 12 hours on your phone. It is a tool. It can't be your whole life. A lot of what I do, a lot of my day-to-day is using technology, and so a phone plays into that. When I am actively not using my phone, I am actively doing other things that are related to holistic health. Meditation, fitness, conversation. Yeah, I think that if you put your phone over there and just try to resist it, that's literally all you're thinking about. But when you put your phone over there and then go do something else that is more beneficial to you, that is how you practically and realistically avoid the control that your phone and that technology is trying to have over you.
That is great advice, John. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you coming on for this video. And just remind them, John, where can they find you again?
Yeah, Instagram at Jon Scotty, JONSCOTTY_. That's where I'm most active. TikTok, same username, and be on the lookout for some more YouTube content coming soon. And
you also make videos for other people. You shoot videos, right?
I do.
So if y'all want to ever hit him up to be a photographer or videographer, check him out.
Thanks, man.
Makes cool stuff. And if you're in Austin, right? Is that
in Austin? Willing to travel, but yeah, I am based in Austin. Always down to connect, shoot, even just for fun. If you're a shooter or you just want to hang out and talk, hit me up.
Love that. And with that, make a great day. Take it joyful and stay conscious. Awesome job, John.
Thanks, man.
You did great.
This was fun.
Sweet.